I was part of Shotgun Gangster Crips. I joined when I was 14. I was raised by my grandmother, and my mother worked 3 jobs, so I never really saw that much. An older guy approached us about joining and what would take to join and what's the benefits about joining. And I saw it as a family that I didn't have at home. When I needed money, they supplied that. Whatever I needed, they made sure I have it.
It's easy to say not to do it. You know, don't do drugs and don't get into gangs. It's really, there's so much behind it.
El primer elemento que se planteó en ese estudio en el año 2000 fue que la causa que siempre ellos explicaban que ellos se unían a las pandillas eran porque en la casa no eran atendidos, en la casa no se le entendía. Otro de los elementos que salió a flote era que aproximadamente el 45% de las personas que nosotros tratamos con la situación de las pandillas venían con familias disfuncionales, es decir, padres divorciados. Otra característica que había era que generalmente algún miembro de la pandilla los reclutaba, y nos dimos a la tarea de que generalmente no podemos hablar de un solo factor.
I have a troubled home life, right? So my house was the last thing I wanted to be in.
What we do know about delinquent behavior, though, is that it has to be part of some group that you're trying to belong to. So certainly children that come from homes with family members who are going to jail, or who participate in criminal activities, are more likely to also do those things.
The same kids from the neighborhood, their parents, their cousins, someone, brother, sister, someone is in the gang, so they start being, you start kind of reenacting with them.
I come from my grandfather was a gang member, my father was a gang member, I was a gang member. My sons are not gang members. They could have been.
People do what they learn. So we learn in the environments with which we live. So you live in a family unit and you learn from your family how it is you're supposed to kind of behave in a society.
My mother was part of the gang. My father was part of the Bloods. My mother was part of the Crips.
So if in your family there's a lot, your family members are delinquents or criminals, you observe, you've spent your childhood visiting your family member in prison, let's say, then that in a sense normalizes that world for you in a different way than a child who's never been exposed.
We grew up with a family that's on welfare, we live in the projects, we live in streets where there's gangs.
Probably one of the even more important variables we would consider is poverty. I mean, when you think about how crime operates in a society, a lot of crime is rooted in some sort of economic basis. Not all crimes, because you have crimes that are like crimes of passion and all other types of things, but a majority of things that we as a culture define as being criminal activity tend to center around economics.
It was 2 things that made me realize this wasn't for me. I was 19 and I found out that my ex-girlfriend was pregnant. It still didn't hit me until she was 4 months and we went to go get a sonogram and she told me I was having a daughter. When you join a gang, or family, or whatever you want to call it, is rules, and you got to abide by it. I'm cool with that. I still was going to be like, I can't turn my back on my family. And when I told the guy, I can't say his name, but when I told our OG that I was having a daughter, the reaction I thought I was going to get was congratulations, do what you got to do. And he told me, good job, when we going to get back to work? A week later, I told my girlfriend at the time that we need to move. And we made that move.
Cuando una persona está en la pandilla y se enamoran de una persona que no está en la pandilla, entonces cómo el amor es capaz de actuar de una forma también terapéutica, como utilizamos otras intervenciones desde el punto de vista psicológico, ¿no?
Really, the way that we experience the world, our society, our criminal justice system very much depends on these variables: what your gender is, what your race is, what your socioeconomic status is. And depending on sort of the combination of those things is going to inform how you analyze the world and how you experience the world.
That individual gets, hurt and beat, and so he turns into an animal. So, that's what we were. That's what I felt like when I went to juvenile hall.
I went to prison. And then I was like, is this really what I want, to be locked in a cell my whole life?
And had some men strip search me and get me naked and, put me in the box and all this nasty stuff, you know? Like, I'm just a regular kid, man, you know, but you turned me into an animal. How do you get out of that?
So I kind of just like, you know, I'm just gonna go forward from here. I have my own family now. I have a boyfriend and I'm about to have a baby, so.
Para salir de una pandilla, lo primero que hay que ver es una motivación.
My son's father at that time was in YA. That's like a juvenile facility for minors. So he was there and he heard through Father Greg, because Father Greg used to go to the campsites in East Lake, and so he heard him speak. And when he got out, he told me, like, you know, we gotta get our stuff together, let's go check it out. Homeboy provides all kinds of programs. They have like the GD, counseling, therapy. They also have, if you need to go to a rehab. So they have all those types, tattoo removal.
It's helped me with being responsible, having a different way of thinking, as a positive way. It taught me how to, it's just techniques to find jobs, you know. This is like my first real job I ever had, so it feels kind of cool. So just being responsible and committed to something is what I've learned here.
There's abusive parents, neglecting parents. There's just a need for love in that person's life, and we look at that individual and say, "Don't do it," but it's not about. It's their surroundings. It's their parents. It's not that individual. You know, if there's anything, I'll say, open your eyes and look for someone who loves you and cling on to that.